What's going on, guys? We have been begging for more at the Arnold Classic, and I think we got our wish. Andrew Jacked has now jumped into the show. He announced yesterday. It's all over Instagram. I don't know if you guys know yet, but if you don't, I'm here to tell you. And the show has gotten just extremely exciting in the last couple of days. Not only do we have Nick Walker jump in yesterday, but now we have Andrew Jacked. And with Samson already there, they're looking like a strong top three. Bonac is also in there, and then Sean Clarita. Those are really looking like the front runners right now. But Andrew Jacked came in, and I'm not sure what it was that made him make the decision. Was it the 300K increase, and he thinks he can take it home? Was it another shot at beating Nick? Maybe he thinks with his size and incredible shape, he can beat Nick if he can come in a little bit harder. Or was it a sponsor obligation? Maybe a sponsor said, hey, this is a really big show. It's not that many guys. You can jump in. Or maybe he thought this will increase my stock if I can get ahead of Samson and get right behind Nick, or if I can beat Nick, maybe this is, or maybe there's a multitude of truths to that. I probably think out of all of them, the sponsor question is probably the least, or the sponsor push is probably the least of all of them. Most sponsors don't go that way anymore. Most sponsors kind of don't push their athletes to compete at this or that show. So I think that one's probably out. I think more interestingly, it's a big chance to beat Nick. I think Andrew thinks with his size and his shape, if he comes in more conditioned, he could beat Nick. Now, could that happen? I don't know. Nick is Mr. Consistency. He seems to bring that conditioning and that peak every time. And that's also credit to his coach, Matt Jansen. So they have a very good formula. And I don't, by any stretch, think Nick is going to miss the mark or be any worse than the Olympia. If anything, he'll be the same as the Olympia, or he'll be better. So this, to me, as it stands now, is Nick's show to lose. And it's going to be up to Andrew. He's not going to grow between now and the Arnold, right? His size is his size, but he doesn't need size. I mean, yeah, you probably use a little bit more thickness in the hamstrings. If you're being really nitpicky, maybe a little bit more back, but he's basically got the size that he needs to be Mr. Olympia. What he's missing is the conditioning, which is something he can improve in the next 6 to 8 weeks or whatever it is from now until the Arnold. So the time is on his side. He doesn't need to bring anything up. He just needs to get shredded. And if he can peak properly, could he beat Nick? Now, a lot of people think yes. He's got the muscle. He's got the overall structural size, being so tall and being so wide. And he's got the shape that everybody wants. So, you know, the only thing Nick would have on him is he's going to have a little bit more thickness to some of his muscles, being as he's shorter. And that's if Andrew can nail down that condition. So if Andrew can bring it in, he could be the winner. Now, that also same statement goes for Samson. If Samson can bring that condition in better than the Arnold or better than the Olympia, then it stands to reason Samson could also pull ahead. But this is all saying Nick is going to be the same, which I don't think he is going to be. He's probably really crushing those vacuums and trying to pull that waist in. And he is probably practicing that posing. Those front and back lat spreads really need to get nailed down. And he's probably going to come in harder. He was great conditioned, but he's probably going to come in even drier, because there's two ways a bodybuilder can go. When you're getting ready for a show and there's a gap in between two shows, one of two things can happen. Either you do the show, and taking that extra time can make you better, which in my belief, in Samson's case, will be what it is. He is going to get better. His muscle doesn't really flatten out. He doesn't really lose muscle that easily. But I think the extra time between the Olympia and the Arnold will give him time to get even sharper on more calories, because he's already shredded from the Olympia. So I think this will be a benefit to Samson. Now, in Nick's case, I don't think he will lose muscle either. He's definitely an endomesomorph. He's going to hold on to all that mass, but he will get drier as they come into the, and with Matt backing up, he'll be able to hold on to that muscle and manipulate macronutrients, micronutrients, and get him peaked properly. And potentially we could see a harder Nick than we did at the Olympia. Now, the question is, can Andrew be better? And we've seen him now at 4 shows. This is a thing with Andrew. He's been competing since Texas. So that means he must have started his diet back in June, potentially. So he's been dieting since June, July, August. We're looking at 7 months, 8 months. So it's tough because we don't see him getting better. If anything, to me, his best show was Texas. And then I think I would say the UK and the Olympia were probably equal. Maybe the UK was a little bit better. So he seems to be getting a little, I don't want to say worse, but a little softer as the shows go, unless you consider the UK and the Olympia the same condition. Now, does that mean he's going to be worse for the Arnold, or did they regroup and try and figure out a new strategy for the Arnold? So if we're looking at a pattern and a long diet, he's in an uphill battle. He could be sharper, but it stands to reason that being such a long season and him not being able to figure out that conditioning issue from the back yet, I still think Nick is the front runner, but that does not mean they won't figure it out. So really big news. I have heard some rumblings about Patrick Moore. I don't know if he's going to get in or not. I've heard people talking about it. If Patrick gets in, I think it's great for him. I think it's another opportunity for Patrick to increase his stock. He's been out for a little while. He hasn't done any shows. And the last couple shows he did, he wasn't at his very best. I think if he can return to the Patrick of the Olympia a couple of years ago, he'll do some damage here and he'll really increase his stock. So, and then I think people are counting out Justin Rodriguez. Last year at the Arnold, Justin Rodriguez came out on the Friday looking phenomenal. If that Justin Rodriguez comes back in, he could also be trouble. So there's a lot of guys now in the show. The Arnold has all of a sudden gone from, oh, there's only 6 guys to, hey, the most popular guys are in the show. And that's a really big deal, man. So listen, get the pay-per-view, use code Fouad10 and save a little bit of money on that pay-per-view, but support the bodybuilders, man. They're increasing. The Arnold is doing their job by increasing the prize money and doing all these things. I think the fans, as fans, me included, we can all do our job and purchase a pay-per-view and support the guys. Now, the only other thing I want to talk about is Derek. Derek, if you're watching, stands to reason that you second at the Olympia, you would be the favorite coming in if you decide to do the show. Not only is it $300K being a really big deal, obviously financially, but it's also a chance to solidify yourself as second in the world. Now, it's also tricky. You're playing a little bit of a game because if you come in and Nick is better than the Olympia and Nick pulls ahead of you, now you've lost a little bit of stock and you're third in the world. But I feel like you and Nick might be a rivalry that goes on for a while. So I wouldn't shy away from it. If I was Derek, I would be planning that Arnold stage comeback. I'd be getting up there, taking that $300K home and really solidifying myself as Hottie's #1 challenger for 2023. And it's exciting, man. Arnold is getting big. And Derek, I think you want to be part of that. I think you want to get on stage with these guys and prove again that you are the guy. But Andrew, good on you for jumping in, man. I think it's amazing. I think you're doing a great thing for yourself and for the sport and also for the fans. I think everybody's going to be super excited to get into the show or get it on pay-per-view and watch the excitement. All right, guys, till next time. Check out HOSSTILE.com for all your awesome supplements and apparel, and check back for new videos coming soon. Thank you.